Sir, how are you?
I'm here.
Sir, do you work for the Oxford School District?
I have been employed for the Oxford School District. I am currently on leave at this moment.
Now, I'd like to direct your attention specifically to the fall of 2021. Were you working with Oxford School District at that point?
Yes, I was.
In what role?
I was a counselor at Oxford High School.
Okay. And tell us, please, what general duties are associated with that particular role?
I managed a caseload of about 400 students. With that, I was in charge of scheduling for those students, preparing them for life after high school by helping them kind of look through different potential job opportunities, caring for social emotional wellness for students, and being kind of just a general person who would be consistent throughout their time in high school working with them.
Okay. You said you had a caseload of about 400 students?
Yes.
How many students went to Oxford High School at that particular time?
There were approximately 1,800 students. Divided amongst 4 counselors, there were 1,600, and then approximately 200 in an early college program as well.
So in November of 2021, approximately how long had you been employed with Oxford High School?
I started as an intern in 2014 and was hired full-time in fall of 2015.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your background, please.
I came out of college, graduated with a degree in youth ministry, worked as a youth pastor starting in 2009, and then did that and went back to school for a master's degree in counseling. I graduated with that, actually walked in December of 2014 and started working in the high school thereafter.
Okay. Now you mentioned your role included helping students transition into post-secondary either education or employment, scheduling, as well as social, emotional issues.
Yes.
Would one of those roles take precedence?
It would ebb and flow depending on the time of year, but there was never anything that you did that was, this is the most important thing, because it was what student you were with at the time.
Okay.
To a senior going to college, helping them with that college application took precedence in that moment. To a student sitting in front of you with social emotional needs, that took precedence in that moment.
So did you have regular check-ins with students, or was it an as-needed basis?
It depended on what it was for. We did have regular meetings with students in regards to scheduling, but when it came to social emotional, that was more of an as-needed basis.
Did your role as a counselor involve disciplining students?
No.
Okay. Who took care of that?
That would have been the dean or our administration.
Okay. In November of 2021, who was the dean?
Nikki Jack.
All right. And did you work with him a lot?
No, I didn't. He was actually new to the district that year.
Okay. So is there a reason why the counselor would be separate from the discipline of students?
The counselor's role was to be a student advocate, to remain on the side of the student through difficult situations oftentimes, to give the student somebody that they could build that trust and rapport with, where the dean would be enforcing code of conduct.
Okay. What code of conduct? What's that?
The standards that are expected to be followed by students.
Okay, so a rule. Would that be fair?
That would be a part of it,
Okay.
yes. Yes.
Now, in the fall of 2021, was Oxford High School in person, hybrid, or remote?
Oxford High School was in person.
Okay. Were all students and teachers wearing face masks at that point?
Yes, they were.
In the fall of 2021, what sort of issues would you face with the students' social emotional health?
Social emotional health was definitely on our radar in the fall of 2021. Coming out of COVID, coming out of time being out from school, the anxiety that was associated with that time period, we saw a lot of issues for students, whether it be anxiety, whether it be depression, and in a few cases, it was suicide attempts.
Okay. Now that year, did you encounter any students who actually had attempted suicide?
I did.
How many?
At least 4.
Sir, are you familiar with the term suicidal ideation?
Yes, I am familiar with that term.
Could you please explain to us what that means?
Suicidal ideation
Yeah, I'm
is...
going to object to relevance.
Judge, I believe this witness will testify that he indicated that the defendant's son was expressing signs of suicidal ideation that was expressed to the defendant.
Well, that was his belief at the time, right? So I'm going to allow it.
Thank you. What's suicidal ideation?
Suicidal ideation is looking at themes, ideas, behaviors which could be associated with suicide. So when you take sadness, depression, anxiety, those on their own aren't necessarily suicidal. And when we look at them, we may see somebody who's not actively suicidal that may not be expressing a date or a plan or a method, but we see themes that, if left unchecked, could be associated with potentially becoming suicidal.
Okay. Now, as your role as a counselor at Oxford High School, as you dealt with students who were expressing suicidal ideation separate from those who actually attempted suicide,
Yes,
could you put a number on how many?
dozens.
Now, you mentioned that there were 4 counselors for a school of around 1,700, 1,800 or so. How was it that each student was assigned to a counselor?
Of the students who are not in the early college program, they were divided out alphabetically amongst their counselors.
Was James Crumbley's son one of the students assigned to your caseload in November of 2021?
Yes.
Is James Crumbley in court today?
Yes, he is.
Could you please point to him and describe something he's wearing today?
He is seated at this table wearing a suit coat with a blue tie.
Your Honor, would the record reflect identification of defendant?
The record would reflect the in-court identification of the defendant, James Crumbley.
Sir, when is the first time that you would have interacted with James Crumbley's son?
The first time that I likely interacted with him would have been scheduling during his freshman year.
Okay, so for context, November of 2021, he was a sophomore, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, so this would have been August or September of 2020?
No. When students are in 8th grade, they're scheduled at the middle school level. I
Okay.
may or may not have been in his classroom because it's divided out within their 8th grade classrooms. And we don't know the students at all at that point.
Okay.
I would have done scheduling with him during his freshman year, approximately February of 2021.
February of 21.
Yes.
Okay.
Those meetings were done virtually and were not in depth and were only to discuss their next year's schedule.
Do you remember anything about that meeting if you
I
had?
don't remember that meeting in particular, no.
I'm going to show you. First of all, if you recall, when is the next time that you had any interaction with the defendant's son?
I don't recall this particular meeting, but I know that there was a phone call in spring of 2021
Okay.
from a teacher to me, and then I called into the student's classroom to meet with the student.
Okay.
I do not remember that meeting.
All right, I'm going to show you what's been, if it is Exhibit 198. This is an email, May 13, 2021, 1:46 in the afternoon. Without telling us that person's name, who was that person who sent you the email?
Without telling,
Well, who does she work there at Oxford High School?
she was an English teacher at
English
Oxford
teacher,
High School.
okay. And the email is, "Hi, when you get a chance, can you call the defendant's son down and see how he's doing? He is failing my class and tries to sleep all the time. In class, thanks." That's Exhibit 198, May 13, 2021. You received this email?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And the response from you at 2:07 p.m. is, "I'll catch him before the end of the day." And then her response at 2:03. Any interaction with the defendant's son because of this email?
I have, through phone records, I called into a student's classroom and called him down to my office. I don't
Okay.
remember that particular meeting.
Okay. But at least your recollection is that you would have had that meeting.
The evidence from everything suggests that I had that meeting.
Sure, that's fair. Did you contact either James or Jennifer Crumbley then?
I did not.
Okay. And why or why not?
It was a check-in, and it didn't raise to the level of concern where I would contact the parent.